Wow. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 4 of Enlightened Normal Dudes. I'm Sean.
And I'm Corey.
How you doing tonight, Corey?
Not too bad, buddy. Thanks for asking. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. Blessed to be here. And
Likewise.
I appreciate everybody taking time out of their busy schedule to watch us.
Yeah, absolutely. Much appreciated. Hope we can get some more people to take part in the conversations and just be a part of the community. Help us build it.
Well, we were going to have a special guest on tonight, but
Sean's mom wasn't available.
well, Corey's mom wasn't either, and they were,
She actually was.
Oh, she was available.
She was watching it today, and she said, "Hey, whenever you want to have me on." I was like, "Yeah, we'll get you on. Don't worry."
My mom doesn't want to be on here. I can guarantee that.
That's not what she said.
That's nice. I like the intro coming in. It's not Shark Week, but still, it was a pretty good intro.
Heck yeah. Keeping it real.
Keeping it real. So, I'm ready to bedazzle those t-shirts, man.
We got to get them. Yeah, we got to get them going. So definitely, if we can get some more people commenting, generating some conversation, we will get some swag out there. And I will also make a time-lapse video of Sean actually bedazzling.
That is a correct statement.
And that's worth more than anything.
Yeah, the content would be epic of me. It can't be any sound because I guarantee I'll be cussing.
Yeah. Would you be drinking while you're bedazzling?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay, good.
Absolutely. I might be drinking now. You never know.
Nothing wrong with that.
Might be water, might be vodka. It's vodka. I'm just kidding. I haven't had a drink since Sunday.
Yeah, carbs, man.
Carbs. You don't. I just want to look good.
Yeah. You don't. Unless you're in your bulk phase, you don't mess with that stuff.
Nope. If I'm in my bulk phase, I'm going to eat 6 donuts.
That's what's up.
That's what's up. I had a Snickers today, though.
Was it amazing?
It was pretty amazing.
I know.
The first any little bit of carbs that I've had in forever, especially like bad carbs.
Yeah.
It was so good. It was so good.
Reese's out of the fridge, man.
So I'm done eating for the rest of the week.
All right.
Just saying, well, at least solid food. Anyways, so back to the bedazzling. Yeah, I'd like to give away some free swag. We just need some input on who wants it. That's all I'm saying. Give us some show ideas.
This is what it's like when Sean's out at the bar. We just need some input on who wants it.
Where's the sound effect on that? Where's the sound effect on that one?
Imagine how strange that is. Just Sean up at the bar in a nice white shirt. Just need some input on who wants it.
I think that Anchorman, I'm just putting that out there.
Mm-hmm.
That's what fits.
Anchorman? That's the one that actually, like...
There you go.
I look good.
Now the other one.
I mean, really good.
There you go. All right. So let's see what we got on the agenda tonight.
So I've got 2 goals after getting some feedback. Feedback from last week or the week before was from my stepmom saying that I need to not touch my face so much. Feedback from my wife this week. Yeah. Feedback from my wife this week is that because of my ADHD, I tend to interrupt Sean a lot. So I need to give him some more space to finish his thoughts, even if it means I might lose mine.
Yeah, maybe you need to get a notepad and write down your thoughts. That way you can figure out what you want to talk about.
Sounds like a lot to concentrate on.
I mean, you have 5 screens. You could always put a notepad on the side.
No, hopefully once we hit it big, then we'll actually have
secretaries.
We'll have a producer.
Flashcards.
And they'll be taking notes. Yeah, yeah. And then they'll just be hitting us up like in a messenger, like, hey, don't forget you were going to say this.
Be
That's
like,
what
hey,
we need.
hey, you're off topic again.
Yeah, if we get our next 100,000 subscribers, then yeah,
We'll get a producer.
Yeah, for sure.
100,000 subscribers, we'll definitely get a producer because at that point, I'd probably quit my job.
Yeah.
Yeah, just saying.
Can you hear the dog in the background?
I can hear the dog in the background.
Siggy, man. He's a wild man.
Yeah. Amazon must be here now.
Something. That or somebody had the audacity to walk by or walk their dogs or whichever.
All right. Well, the first topic of the night, the Florida gun and shooting laws that have just came out. How do you feel about open carry right now?
So open carry is kind of an interesting one. As somebody who came from up north and comes from a liberal background, I think we've obviously already covered that. A lot of my views on guns and your right to bear arms have changed a lot, and I do value the ability to defend yourself and to also just be proficient. You know, I think it's a good thing to be proficient, and you can't take anything for granted in the world.
No, for sure.
Yeah, some of the people that know better than myself and that I enjoy their content, the majority of them have articulated that while they think open carry is good law-wise, because and you had also mentioned this to me, is that before that concealed carry is legal here, and that without open carry being legal, you could get caught in this little loophole where if you're concealed carrying and like you happen to move the wrong way and your gun is exposed, that could be considered brandishing.
Yeah, brandishing the weapon if it pops out a little bit, or even just the print in your shirt could be considered brandishing, and I believe it was a misdemeanor on the first offense, and no one got time for that.
So from a technicality standpoint, though, it makes sense that is one of the positive benefits of it, that nobody's going to get caught in that stupid loophole. You know, like
even as a Second Amendment supporter for myself, I think that open carry honestly just makes you more of a target.
Yeah,
I don't think it's accomplishing what it's intended to accomplish, but I do like it for the sheer fact of you can't get caught brandishing a weapon anymore, right, which is awesome.
Yes, yeah, and so that's exactly what a lot of the people that I watch and watch their content have said, is that basically from a tactical standpoint, you're just making yourself the first target. And so, God forbid you're in a grocery store or drugstore or whatever kind of store. Somebody comes in, they're going to rob the place. They notice that you have a gun right on you. Now they're either going to shoot you or ask for your gun or whatever, but they're going to be focused on you because they see you as a threat. And so, it's not helping you. If anything, it may even be putting you in more harm's way.
I don't know if we talked about this on the podcast, but what if you were at a convenience store and you were not in the direct line of the threat? Mm-hmm. Would you intervene?
That's the funny thing. I think when we did have this conversation the other day, it wasn't actually on the podcast. This was just something we were kicking around. And after talking it through with you, I think we both kind of came down on the side that we wouldn't intervene unless we felt like somebody was under threat. Exactly. So if somebody comes in, says, give me the cash, the person behind the counter is able to kind of get that together quickly, give it to the person, and they're out the door. Okay, cool. Not trying to be dirty, Harry, or inflame the situation at all. But if for whatever reason you felt like, oh, this person's really unstable, they, I don't trust that they're actually going to just, try to get this money and leave or whatever, then yeah.
So do you feel like you would have a duty to act if you had a concealed weapon and you weren't in the direct line of fire?
That's tough.
That's a hard one. That's what I would wrestle with. Do I have a duty to act? Like, would my moral compass make me want to act? I couldn't answer it because I've never been in that situation.
Yeah, so that's one thing, is like it's always easy to say what you think you would do. But truthfully, the more I think about it just in this moment, my number one duty is to come home to my wife every night. That is my duty. So I think that I would, I mean, it would have to, I think I would have to feel under threat, to be honest with you. But to be fair, if I think that that person is going to get shot or this person is so erratic that they might start shooting, then I think that that kind of rises to that, you know? So
I think if you have a beyond reasonable doubt that a violent act is about to be committed, I think you kind of have a duty to act.
But I mean, in that scenario, I feel under threat anyways, right? Because you don't, maybe it's not directed at you, but it soon could be.
Sure. But at that point, I think that you need to stay out of it as much as you can.
Yeah. Well, and again, right? So this is this idea of de-escalation. Like, yes, this awful thing is happening. Somebody is coming in. They're using the threat of force and or bodily harm to, you know, rob this place. That in and of itself is awful. But, you know, if somebody dies and or gets hurt, like that just makes it so much worse. No. So if you can get out of the situation and let the cops do their job to try to track this person down and everyone can go home to their family that night, I think that's the most important thing.
I have a different belief on the castle doctrine, though, which, you know, extends to your car and home. So I do believe if somebody is violently coming into your house, at that point you have every right to defend it with whatever means necessary.
Absolutely.
There's no running and hiding at that point. It is.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's different, right? Because if you're at a store, this is a public space.
Yeah.
When you're at your house, that's your house. And if somebody has no reason to be there, and assumingly at some point you're like, hey, who the hell are you? What are you doing? You know, assuming they don't just burst in the front door, but like you saw them coming down or up your driveway and you're like, hey, who are you? And they proceed to still act a fool and, you know, make you uncomfortable 100%.
Yeah.
Because again, that's not a public space.
You also have to remember they need to be in your house to defend yourself. Even them breaking into your car does not warrant you to go out there and try and stop them.
Interesting. Yeah. And that's another thing is just having to know all the laws. Then again, we are in Florida, so.
I think that you could probably get away with it here, but that's what I'm saying.
But I take your point. And it's still not a good thing because you just never know. And, you know, like somebody breaks into your car and let's say it's some neighborhood kids. And again, not that it's okay, but do you really want to have, you know, killing a kid on your conscience? Absolutely not.
Well, it's not even that. I mean, if the legal ramifications come down the pipeline, you end up in court.
Yeah.
And you were safe inside your house. This is just property. There's not a violent act happening. And you go running outside with a gun and you shoot somebody. Then that jury and that judge is probably going to be like, why didn't you just stay in the house and call the police? Well, because you had no reason to go out there and kill someone over it.
Yeah. And I think this goes more to the point that I think it's a good thing that more people are being given access. Because again, we're living in an increasingly crazy world, and the idea that you should not be able to defend yourself is kind of crazy. So it's good that people have access, but with that being said, there needs to be a lot more education and people that, you know, do choose to have firearms and carry them in different ways and different situations. Like they need to educate themselves on that because I mean, the law is the law. And you know, also, you always want to have that de-escalatory idea in mind. Like, you know, you should not want to have to shoot somebody. Like, you should always want to have to do everything you can to not do that.
Yeah. Well, you know, actually, one of the local supermarkets is bending to the law. How about that? They used to be Publix, right? Where they didn't want any firearms in the building, and now they're doing away with that policy now that new law came out.
Well, I mean, what else are you going to do? I mean, if people can legally conceal carry and now if they can legally open carry, there's just going to be firearms, even if it's only the concealed ones. You know, again, even if it's their policy that they don't want that doesn't mean that people aren't going to do it. And then God forbid something breaks out, you know, so I think this is the way we need to go is again, hardening places, trying to protect places. My wife's a teacher. You know, recently there was a kid that had a gun in her classroom and it's shocking. A loaded gun in her classroom. They found out the next day and arrested the kid. But just insane to have it hit so close to home. And the idea that, God forbid, any situation that kid, I mean, kids are just kind of unstable in and of themselves. So that kid, God forbid, the right situation hit him, is just absolutely insane. So at this point, got to have metal detectors in places, have to have armed people that can take down people that want to do bad stuff. I get it. It sucks. As a liberal person, did I want to live in that world necessarily? No. But I'm pragmatic, and I realize this is the world that we live in. The proliferation of weapons is way too far to unwind. And so now we have to be pragmatic about solutions if we want to actually try to prevent people from getting hurt.
Well, you also got to look at like Sweden. Every citizen is required to own a firearm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they have the lowest instances of violent crimes in the world. And then Australia, you know, they did away with, they did the gun ban. I think they can have some sorts of guns. I don't know the
I think like hunting stuff.
Yeah. But violent crimes, so, you know, stabbings, beatings, rapes, went up 70% within the first year. Yeah. So there's something to be said about, you know, if someone's going to do bad and they think they might get shot, they might think twice about it. I'm not going to say that it's something that's going to stop everything, but at least those people will be like, maybe I shouldn't do this.
Well, it's kind of funny, right? We see this all the time in the news because from an international perspective, with nuclear arms in particular, people that have nuclear arms are kind of like on a separate tier than everybody else. And the golden rule, right, is like you don't mess with people that have nuclear arms. So even though like we've been helping Ukraine, we wouldn't put boots in the ground on the ground with Ukraine because then we are in direct conflict with the nuclear power. But if we just supply them weapons and stuff, then we're not in direct conflict with the nuclear power. But the whole
that could be a whole nother podcast because
but just
I have so much to say about all that.
Sure. But just conceptually, the idea of mutually assured destruction, like, okay, you've got weapons that can take everything out. And again, on just a human level, just us, you know, a gun, if I have it and a gun, if you have it, we can take each other out. So it's like, okay, let's not do that.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
As sad as it sounds, you know, we're animals. We live in an animalistic world, and this is just the way that it is. So I think that people need to be proficient, and we need to do whatever we can to keep things safe and prevent people from getting killed. No, and we got to think outside the box now because there's just too many guns out there. There's no rewinding it. So
how about the bill that's trying to be passed right now to lower the age of purchasing a firearm from 21 to 18? Now, just saying, I just let you know.
Mm-hmm.
When I was growing up, I bought my first firearm myself when I was 18 because that's what the law was.
Sure.
They had since increased it to 21 and now they're looking at bringing it back down to 18. How do you feel about that?
You know, honestly, it's like the old saying goes, if you're old enough to die for your country, you know, you're old enough to, honestly, you should be old enough to drink. You should be old enough to buy cigarettes. You should be old enough to buy a gun.
Listen, I feel the same way. If you're old enough to join the military, you should be old enough to drink. At least with a military ID, you know?
But yeah, I mean, I just think it is what it is. And again, this is why we need to raise our kids better. We need to make sure we're keeping their mental health in good spots. We need to make sure we're keeping school as safe as possible. And there should also be proficiency with firearms.
I'm going to throw something out there that's really crazy. I think that society, I know this is going to be a hard concept to wrap your head around. I don't know if I've ever talked to Corey about this before, but this is something that I've thought about a lot. A lot of the issues that we have in society right now are wrapped up within the dissipation of the nuclear family. So think about this. Back when a husband would go to work, the wife would stay home with the kids, they'd eat dinner together. Mm-hmm. They could afford to live on a one-person salary, have a house, have a car. Sure. The family was together. And then we went through a transition to where it took two incomes to come in and the nuclear family started dissipating. And I actually think that's kind of where society, at least in the United States, got off track. Because you weren't eating dinner with each other. The parents weren't around as much. They weren't giving their influences.
It's a huge cultural problem. I think it started as a financial problem, like you said, that policy and inflation, those things kind of push things naturally that way. And then you had a cultural shift as a result of it. I would be curious for you to listen. There is an economist that I really like. His name is Scott Galloway. He tends to be more on the liberal side. But what's cool? Oh, stop it. Come on, man. I think you would actually really enjoy him. He was actually one of the people that was talking about the crisis with young men like 10 years ago. Like he was one of the first people beating that drum, saying that young men were really getting left behind in society and we were going to start to see problems with that. And obviously look at where we are. But it's cool because obviously there is a movement from the conservatives to try and gear back towards the nuclear family and promoting that. And that's wonderful. I agree with that. Where I disagree with them, Scott Galloway had a really cool idea, and I may not articulate this perfectly because I'm just kind of winging it off the top of my head. But his whole thing was we should do everything we can to get young people financially free. So like he was even talking about maybe like tax free while you're like less than 40. So like if you want to hoard money and
that doesn't help me.
I understand. But he also, like, again, like getting into like the anti-LGBTQ thing, he is not a fan of that. Schools is a different thing when we're talking about kids, the way we educate them, whether, you should allow younger people to transition, whole different thing, whole different podcast. But just the idea of adult age people having same-sex relationships, marriages, whatever. His whole thing is that when we have a society that is so disconnected, we should be doing everything we can to encourage people to come together, to find love. He likes the idea of like public service. So maybe like mandatory public service from like 18 to 20, but get young people together, going all around the world or helping around the United States, get out there, find love, but that's his whole thing. So agreed. I think there's different ways to tackle it, but absolutely. I think you've got your finger on it, that everything we can do to encourage people to come together, to have family, whatever that kind of family looks like. I think that the idea of thinking one family is better than another, of course, heterosexual relationships, because that is what the majority of people are, like that's going to be the standard. But if you can have a gay couple that can raise kids in a loving home and help them get to college and be positive members of society, like the idea that we should be, looking down on any kind of family or bringing people together with all the issues that we have, we need to find that anywhere we can.
If you ever get the chance to watch the movie Freedom Writers.
Okay. Sounds familiar.
It's a very good movie. Basically, it's from Los Angeles. Different rival gangs are in the same classroom, and they ended up bonding with each other.
Okay.
It's a really good movie, and it's based on a true story.
You know what would be cool? Something I'd like you to help me do too. So this last episode that we did, there were a couple of different things that we referenced. Now, I didn't get your link. I need you to resend your link to your audiobook because I would like to put that in the description for that last episode.
Okay.
But I did put some links to some other things that we discussed, in particular Dr. K. So there's some links for people to check him out. But I would like to start linking to people that we find to be good sources, that have good ideas, even if they're not exactly our ideas, but just, again, promoting that positive message. I'd like to link something from Scott Galloway just about the way he articulated, because, again, I think it's the same thing that you're saying. It may not be exactly the way that you would imagined it or would go about it, but it's the same thing. He just wants to try to make sure that we're including all adult age people in that vision.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly think that everyone should just, again, this is our whole message.
Yeah.
Just hear each other out. I mean, it doesn't have to be your opinion. We don't always have to agree on everything.
But at the end of the day, like, there's tons of kids out there that are orphans, right?
Uh-huh.
If they can find homes, regardless of if they're in a homosexual household, whatever, sure, there should be normal measures that, you have to prove that you have a stable household, you have stable income, blah, 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 blah. That should be the same for anybody who's looking to adopt. But if you can provide a loving home for a child and help them to, grow up feeling loved and a part of the community and then wanting to give back, that is the entire idea. That's what we're missing. When you look at these kids that are going and shooting places up, It's because they're hopeless. It's because that they don't feel a sense of community. They don't feel loved. So we can't turn that down at any place that we can find it. We need to get all hands on deck.
Absolutely, for sure. I mean, that's a good segue into our next topic there.
Cool.
The U.S.
What we got?
inflation. Well, U.S. inflation.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
So-
there you go.
So I guess it's steady at 2.9% as of October.
I would like to get your conservative overview of this whole situation.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I know it only says 2.9%, but it definitely feels like it's a lot more, especially with the cost of goods on the rise. I don't exactly know what the catalyst is on that. At least I'm not going to say it out loud.
Come on.
And-
What are we doing here? What are we doing here? You have to.
Hey, we have to, huh? We're going to play,
We got to be honest here.
next week we're going to play Truth Bingo.
We are. Sean and I are actually going to have where we have to be critical of our own sides.
We'll
And-
explain that more towards the end of this, though.
We will, but it's going to be good, and it's okay to criticize your own side. This idea that you like run around walking the party line when something is demonstrably false is just dumb. Let's break the cycle. It's okay to say, hey, I'm conservative, but these guys that are in power right now, this particular thing is really dumb, and I don't agree with it. Or the same thing when the opposite side was in power, and I have no problem with that.
So the tariffs are one thing that is leading to this inflation. Like I will say that because at some point the companies are going to say, "Hey, we're not going to eat this anymore. We're going to pass it down to the consumer."
Did it bother you all along the way when they were talking about implementing these tariffs, even before the election, and they were trying to say that the other country paid it? Did it bother you that that level of falsehood was being put out there?
It didn't bother me because the plan originally seemed to be fairly solid. Prior to World War II, we did not have a federal income tax.
Mhm.
And the majority of our revenue was, in fact, created by tariffs.
True.
So, yes, you pay more for the goods and services that come in.
But that's not what they were saying, though. They were saying the other country, if we tariff something, the other country pays it. The cost of your goods don't go up.
Yeah, that's just a fallacy. And even
That's all I'm asking. You are under oath,
Yeah.
sir.
yeah, I am under oath.
So that's all I'm saying.
That's
That
a
bothers me.
fallacy. It will be passed along to the consumer, and you will feel it when you're at the grocery store, when you're buying clothes.
And the other country has nothing to do with it. The tariff is on this side when the import gets here. So the people that actually imported it, so let's say Joe Schmo has a sprocket company. He orders his sprockets from China. They hit the border over here, and they say, oh, you have a 25% tariff due on this. Joe
Yeah,
Schmo has to pay that.
Joe Schmo's definitely passing along that 25%.
Well, and right now, the reason things I think have not kind of spiked as much as a lot of analysts thought was Trump kind of tough talked a lot of these different companies and said, you're going to eat some of this, you know?
Yeah.
And so some of the companies did. But now that it's getting drawn out and they're having their earnings reports, it's coming out, it's leaking out, I'm sure on purpose. But basically, these companies are like, we're not going to continue to do this. Like, we're not going to keep getting hit with this. So they were kind of doing him a solid, like, hopefully he'll walk it back, you know, after a certain point, and you can look like you did the tariffs and they didn't hurt that much. And, you know, you were able to twist these other countries into more favorable trade deals. But he's not walking it back now. And so now these companies are going to start passing more of it on.
Yep. It's definitely going to be passed on to the consumer. You can already see it in the discount companies like Temu and Shein. You're paying tariffs on it. If you're buying it, you're paying the tariffs.
Yeah,
All the
so-
prices have increased substantially, especially from the Chinese websites.
Yeah.
You pay it upon arrival on the shore, basically.
Yeah.
But
And that's my only beef. And again, we're going to have plenty of opportunities on this podcast to discuss where liberals and Democrats have done the same types of things in different areas. So I don't want to just be on this thing like we're beating up. But just in this scenario, this is what we're talking about. My only beef with the whole thing was just the disingenuous lead up to it where they're like, oh yeah, the other country pays it. Like, come, all right, just be honest about what you're doing. Like, and who knows, maybe you can make the argument, you know, I know that this isn't an argument that I'm unfamiliar with. I've heard people articulate that they wish we could go back to the consumption type tax, you know, and
The
get rid of
consumption
federal income.
tax would actually work. It would not. It would and it wouldn't work favorably for middle class America
Right. Well, because it hits them
the
harder.
majority of the consumers are middle class Americans.
Right. And that's been the argument against going that way. But at least if that's what you were going to try to do, just be honest about it.
Sure.
You know, that's
Because a consumption tax on someone making $50,000 a year and $1 million a year realistically is not going to be much different.
Yeah. And for people out there who don't really know, and again, we're not experts, we're just enlightened normal dudes. But what we have right now is what we call a progressive tax system. So you go up to different income tiers and you pay a little bit more. And this has been the standard for a long time. I don't know exactly, but this is how we've been doing it. When you talk about a tax like a consumption tax, because I know a lot of people like how easy that sounds, that's actually what we call a regressive tax. Because when you're a millionaire, billionaire, you use the same amount of toilet paper as the rest of us. So
now, it might be $500 a roll, but
sure. And so maybe you're paying a tiny bit more. But the reality is that you're actually going to pay more than your income tax with a consumption tax. And so, again, we vote for a reason. If people vote for this and this is something that comes to pass, we'll just have to see how it goes and people have to learn. But I would encourage people to just try and educate yourself, find some good information sources. We'll certainly link to some good sources. But in general, it's a regressive tax, and it's going to hurt middle income and poor people.
So if I was writing IRS tax laws, personally, I would make all necessary items for living tax deductible. So your groceries, your fuel, all of it. No more of the standard deduction, because the majority of people are spending their money on housing and groceries and fuel. So the things that you have to live should at least be partially tax deductible.
Well, that, and you know, taxes, we're talking about right now how we have these issues with our country, right? And in particular, cultural and intertwined with the concept of family, right? And trying to make people feel like they're included and loved and they want to be a part of society and add to it. This is what tax policy is really supposed to do. You're supposed to use finances and kind of create these carrots for people out there to do the behaviors that you think are beneficial to society. And so that's where tax stuff should really be. I think the sad part is that we definitely do that or have historically done that with the rich. Like we always say, oh, we're going to give them a tax break because when they invest and they build more companies, that creates more opportunities. And there is truth to that, right? Maybe we've gone a little far. That's up for debate. But what we haven't done is done that a lot with middle-class people. You know, middle-class people have been the ones bearing the brunt of all the games that we play with the tax code for quite a few decades now. And so to actually have those carrots be put out there to encourage home ownership, maybe even to help save for a home. Maybe there should be like a special account where when you save into that account and it's for a down payment, that's tax deductible. Just all different sorts of stuff, but you should use the tax code to incentivize the behavior that you want.
No, exactly. I do agree with that.
Yeah.
But, you know, realistically, you're working for about 6 months out of the year for free based on how taxes work. Yeah. So you're getting federal income tax taken out of your check every week. Then you go buy a good that's taxed 6-7%. You have homeowners or you have your home and taxes, your home's taxed.
Sure.
I can't articulate that for some reason.
It's okay.
So
you didn't say at all.
Yeah, well, that's good. Anyways, so you're basically working half of the year for free. And I think that should frustrate some people. I really do.
Yeah. Yeah. It just, I mean, we've allowed things
Oh,
to get so convoluted.
once you pay the company, after you've been taxed twice so far, then the company pays a corporate tax. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's out of hand.
It's crazy. It really is crazy. Yeah.
And just remember, I'm not trying to say anything on these levels, but the Revolutionary War was literally fought over a 10% tax or something like that.
Well, I think, all joking aside, I think there's a lot to what you're saying, because over our lifetime, in particular, our working lifetime, because we're both in our early 40s, we have just seen the margins for people get tighter and tighter. I don't remember a time when it was like, oh, wow, we've got a lot more money to throw around. It's just gotten tighter and tighter and tighter, and there's less to look forward to, right? So when you talk about people becoming disenchanted with society, like, when we were growing up, right, it was like, okay, you work, you pay your taxes, you'll be able to get a house, hopefully you'll find love, have a family, you put your time in, Social Security and Medicare will be there for you when you're ready to retire, and then you can, ride into the golden years. Less and less, I mean, at least for the last 5 to 10 years, we've already been thinking Medicare and Social Security probably aren't going to be there for us. Who knows how long we're going to have to work? What happens to a society, and you're seeing this with the young people too, who can't get into the housing market, or I was just listening to something today where they were saying that, like, the unemployment rate among, like, I don't know, I want to say like 18 to 25 was like 12%, so much higher than the rest of us. But, like, when people are that hopeless and there is nothing to look forward to, what do you think is going to happen?
No, exactly. I don't understand how any first-time home buyer right now, I don't understand how they're doing it, especially in North Florida economy.
Yeah, well,
the housing market, because I'm going to tell you right now, my house wasn't worth what I paid for it. Now it's even more expensive. I'm just like, I couldn't do this again.
Yeah, and that's what's sad, is that, like, you're really betting to hopefully that this balloon that we're in just keeps growing, because if it pops like it did in 2008, right, all of a sudden you've got a property that's worth a third to a half of what you paid for it, and you're underwater and everything that goes along with that. It just sucks though, because there's people getting rich in this, like, it's crazy.
Well, I think that the housing bubble, it won't be as dramatic as 2008, just for the sheer fact of they're not really doing subprime lending at this point, or 103% lending, and so I don't think that the bubble is would be as dramatic. You might see a pullback.
Just out of curiosity, have you watched the movie The Big Short?
Yes.
Excellent movie. For anybody who hasn't watched it, if you want to kind of get an overview of 2008 and how crazy it was, a lot of great actors. You got, like, Christian Bale, Steve Carell, Ryan Gosling, a whole bunch of good people are in it, but they give you kind of a good overview of 2008 and just how crazy it was, because not only did you have, like, the subprime lending, and so you had people that had multiple mortgages that had these adjustable rates that would go up to these insane amounts after a couple of years, and they really didn't even understand them.
Interest only.
Yeah.
Mortgages, like, oh my gosh, that's not a bad idea.
But then the even crazier part was that for us in our 401ks to be able to purchase things, they have to have a rating. So there's a ratings agency. And so it has to be AAA rated, if I'm not mistaken, in order for you to invest your 401k into it. So it has to be basically one of the safest things you can buy. And they started repackaging these really bad mortgages, and they would take, like, a couple slices of a bad mortgage, put in some medium mortgage, put in maybe one slice of good mortgage, and they'd have like 10 pieces. And then they would call, what did they call it again? It's escaping me right now.
I don't know.
It'll hit me randomly. But so they basically repackaged these, and they were selling them to 401ks, and they actually were able to leverage the ratings agency because there was multiple entities doing this. And I think there's a couple big ratings agencies, and they basically started going to one ratings agency and saying, if you don't do it, then they'll do it. And then, so the people that were supposed to protect us didn't protect us. And then these crazy ass bankers, with all the different ways that they're trying to get money, got all of our 401ks invested in these things. So not only did people lose their houses, lose all their crap, but then their 401ks tank. Like, it was just absolutely insane.
And then robo signing. We won't get
Yes.
into the bank
Yeah.
that did that. That was actually foreclosing on houses that shouldn't have been foreclosed on.
Yeah, but this is where people should get angry because again, I don't want anything bad to happen. What I want people is to have like a collective awakening and realize that all of us poor and middle class people, I'm not like an eat the rich person, but there's people that are making a ton of money at the top, and all I'm asking is that they do it, or we hold them to account to do it in a way that doesn't hurt us. Like, yeah, you should have to make informed decisions. Sometimes you might be given a decision that isn't the best decision, but it's up to you, right? To do your due diligence, figure out, which way you're going to go. But like, just patently, I remember they were called derivatives. I knew it would hit me out of nowhere. But just selling you crap. And then when it's time to pay the piper, right? We bailed them out because, they had the economy hostage. So, we got to bail them out. So it's like they got to have their cake and eat it too. Like, it's insane. And we all need to get together on the same page and just say, hey, listen, you guys can make money, but you got to find a way to do it on the up and up.
Or if you're trading stocks, just follow whatever Nancy Pelosi is doing because
that's crazy.
She is the world's best investor. Let's just put it that way.
Absolutely crazy, yeah. And it's just been so openly known for so long.
Anyone else would be hit for insider trading, but it's cool.
Yeah, it's been openly known for so long. It's so bad. And then there was during COVID, there was 4 senators. I think it may have been 2 or 3 conservatives and 1 or 2 liberals. I forget which ones exactly. But basically, they jumped out of what kind of stocks? Like, when you go on a cruise and stuff. So basically everything that was going to get hit by COVID.
Well, yeah,
they jumped out of that
any
stuff.
kind of travel stock was about the tank.
And they jumped out of it, and then they tried to be like, oh, no, it had nothing to do with that. And it was like, okay.
Well, I mean, they probably saw that coming because I think a lot of people actually saw that coming.
But they legit got caught to the point where like they had a briefing telling them how bad it was going to be, and then they went right over and took their stuff. Like, it was bad. It was really bad.
Yeah,
I think it was like Richard Burr. I think he was North Carolina. There was a woman from Georgia. I forget her name. And then there was a California senator. I forget which one it was, but I mean, they all got caught with their pants down, and it was just egregious. It was like, okay, you literally got this intel in your government capacity job and then said, okay, I'm going to go over here and save my ass. Like, there's not a more clear insider trading than that.
No, exactly. I think that they're tiptoeing the line on insider trading.
I don't think it was. I don't know if you know this. In Singapore, this is another thing that Scott Galloway, that economist that I like, talks about a lot. With all like the corruption and shit we've seen from our politicians in the last few years, the Singapore model is cool because what they say is like, we're going to pay these politicians well. So I think they get something close to like $3 million, right? But literally no stocks. You are not allowed. And if you mess around at all, you get caught, you are hung out to dry. I think eventually it'd be cool if we see something like that. Like, because a lot of the argument is like, I think these senators and House members and so on and so forth, like they get a few $100,000. And I guess you could make the argument that in DC, maybe it doesn't go as far, and then you got to fly back and forth with your constituents, even though you're getting campaign funds, whatever. Give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's say in today's world, pay them well, but then no bullshit. It's just done. And if you get caught, bye.
Yeah.
Like, you're in prison 10 years. Like, it'd be nice to see some kind of reform like that eventually.
Yeah. Maybe also if there's a government shutdown because they can't agree, no one else, they're not eligible for re-election the next term.
Absolutely. Balanced budget.
How about that?
Balanced budget should be a part of it.
If the budget's not balanced and you shut down the government, then you're out for the next term.
Absolutely. Now, eventually, I hope that people come together and realize, like, we need dramatic reform for our politicians, and there is nothing wrong.
Mainly the liberals.
There is nothing wrong with demanding a certain level of accountability, and it sucks because we're just at a time where we've gotten so used to so much crap that it's just like, yeah, they're all doing it, they're all just awful, whatever. We got to find a way to like correct that though. Like, we can't be okay with that.
It's actually the circus mentality. Let's distract everyone with football games and movies and inanimate objects that you have to have.
Yeah. Well,
and then you're not paying attention to what's going on behind the scenes.
And then I think a big part of that's what got Trump elected. Ironically, there are a lot of people that, go around screaming, well, he's breaking the government. He's doing this. Well, yeah, the people who just view this as hyper corrupt and the same shit over and over again, that's exactly what they wanted. They wanted him to go in and break the government.
I think he's doing it in his own way.
Yeah, and I'm not making a judgment call on it. I'm just saying it's funny because some people get all hyped up about it, and I get that because there is a lot of discomfort in seeing the dismantling of things, and especially in often crazy way. But what they don't understand is a lot of the people that voted for him, that's exactly what they wanted, and not, again, for a nefarious purpose, but because they see this as this huge corrupt behemoth of a thing, and they want it to be broken, because maybe then it can be rebuilt in a better way. But they wanted it broken.
I mean, like it or not, Doge uncovered some crazy stuff.
They did, but it wasn't nearly to the level.
I know it wasn't, but just one example that sticks out of my head. The Pentagon was spending $60,000 a day on Keurig cups.
Well, some of those are really expensive.
60,000. There's only like 5,000 people that work there. They're all drinking 4 cups a day.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I could just
all of them. I'm just saying.
Listen. I know, but this is another problem too, right? Like you can get into so many different avenues here, because we know that the government gets screwed, because anytime a private company is dealing with the government, they're like, oh, mark it up 200%, So we're always getting, raked over the coals. Now, do we need somebody to get in there and say, no, we don't do that anymore? Like if you sell Keurig cups and you sell them for $13.99 for a dozen.
Yeah, we want the Costco special. We don't want the
right. But so there's a lot of that, but absolutely. And for the government apparatus that allowed that to get so out of control, I get why people are frustrated. And I'm like, no, we need to cut that, and we need to have somebody else in that's going to break that whole thing. And then hopefully when we start building it back, we can cut out crap like that. And I get it.
I mean, by the way, I'm not saying that the Pentagon employees or the military doesn't deserve having coffee. I'm just saying that's obscene.
It is.
Like the cost.
Yeah.
Like, I'm all for it. Drink your 4 cups of coffee, but I think we can do a better job of cutting that.
Do you think that there's any waste at the the Department of War?
No. I'll never agree with that one.
I mean, dude, they're losing track of stuff. They have no idea where stuff is. It's crazy.
That's fine. As long as we know where the nukes are, we're good. There's only been like 1 or 2 missing. It's fine.
Dude, it's crazy. Like I've watched some documentaries about this where they like talk to people, and like they just straight up don't have an accounting of like billions. I mean, and billions upon billions. And they're like, well, it's it's a really dynamic thing. Yeah, well still. Like, it's crazy that you're not going to...
We could always get into, why the Twin Towers came down, but we're not going to go there.
Oh, man. We're going to have conspiracy hour.
A conspiracy theory hour.
Bigfoot did it.
It might have been because of billions of dollars were missing.
You never know.
You never know. Stuff like that happens.
But yeah, I mean, what are we tying up here? What subject are we on again?
I don't know, but we need to have fun subjects of conspiracy theories. Like, I saw Bigfoot last night,
Do you think he's real?
Of course I do. You have a different opinion?
I really don't. Yeah, who knows?
Who knows?
I mean, at this point, you would hope that, like, if he was real, like, with the amount of cameras we have around, somebody would catch something. But who knows?
He's super smart, though.
Who knows, man?
He's super smart.
Dude, what if he's an alien? What if he is, like, a super intelligent alien?
That just messing with us?
Well, no, maybe he got stranded here, and he's just, like, it's a game of shadows.
Maybe.
He's trying to stay off the radar, and once in a while he kind of pops up. But how weird would that be if Bigfoot was an alien?
That would be crazy. Well, the theory was it was actually an alien's pet that got left behind.
So it was like their slave?
It was like their slave.
That's not cool.
Yeah, pretty much. So, You had an interesting conversation yesterday. How do you handle that?
I did. So I was having a religious / philosophical conversation. And I think that I've articulated before that one of the few things that I just can't personally deal with and don't have the time for is what I would call, and I don't mean this negatively, I think that I'm accurately describing it, but like religious fanaticism, where you literally have a religion and you believe every little part of it. And that's fine. I mean, if you're devout, that's another way to say it. That's fine. But I think I've articulated multiple times in our few podcasts that I just want to bring people together. And so I really like dealing with people who find a way, even with their particular religion, philosophy, cultural views, whatever it may be. They're really looking for common ground. Because when you have a conversation with somebody and they say, no matter what you say, you're articulating your belief system, or, you know, what your values are. And they just keep coming back to what their values are. And these are the right ones. We know these are the right ones. What space is there for conversation? Like, and so I, at a certain point, just said, what is the point of the conversation? Because, like, you're not going to convert me. I have my views, and I appreciate that you have your views. That's fine. But where is this conversation going to go? Because there literally is no space, because you're just saying that you have your viewpoints. Your viewpoints are the right viewpoints. So where are we going? You know, and again, in the interest of building community and collaborating with other people from different walks of life, I just find that to be sad, because I want to find ways to live with other people. And that doesn't mean that you have to accept it. Like if you are a devout Christian and you live next door to a Muslim, and you get together and you enjoy each other's company and you talk about things that you have in common, or sometimes even the fact that you love God, right? It doesn't always have to be like a conversation about who's right and whose book was right and which specific way of going about it is the right way. Like, you can internally believe that, you know, I'm not saying to take that away from anybody, but how can you even live with other people if you're not willing to give them space to live their life and their truth? I don't know. What do you think about it?
I know that the conversation you had yesterday was very difficult to listen to, because, you know, I heard some of it, and I think you handled yourself really well.
Thank you.
You know, I found spirituality. I'm a believer in God. I'm a believer in Jesus. But I'm not here to force my values on anyone. And I think that's what we have to realize is not everyone is thinking the same things as you. Not everyone believes the same as you are.
Sure.
And there's no reason to say, my way is the only way. If you don't like it, then you're not a good person. And that's just not how society should ever work. We have to be sure to have these conversations. Corey can say, well, this is why I feel this way, and I will accept what he has to say to me. Not to say that I would agree with him, but I can still accept it and say, yeah, that point of view is very, very good. It's not, all right, you're going to hell because you don't believe in God. I can't definitively say that. That is what my belief system is, but I cannot definitively say that that is what it actually is. And like I said, I think you handled yourself very well. I think the conversation went on way longer than it should have.
Yeah. And to provide a tiny bit more context, one of the things I articulated is that as I get older, I am more open to the idea of God and spirituality. And again, I'm more of kind of like a Buddhist kind of deal. But one of the things that occurred to me while I've been going through recovery for these back surgeries that I've been having over the last year and a half is that I kind of have this intrinsic value system. And a lot of it is obviously from my mom. She, you know, instilled very good values in me. But it's not all from her. Like, I just have these very strong core convictions. So, for instance, one of them is that particularly in the day and age that we're in, with a lot of the castigation that this community is feeling right now, the LGBTQ community, when people say that they're going to go to hell or so on and so forth, I personally have a problem with that. In the intrinsic value system that I have, and let's say it's God, let's say that this voice inside of my head that says, you know what's right, you've got to stand up for people, you need to look out for marginalized people. Everybody should be able to live dignified. And again, getting away from children and all of the other stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about what should be taught in schools, what age we should be allowing children to have sex changes, all that. These are all issues that deserve adequate conversation around them. They're very nuanced. But the idea that an adult should be able to live their truth, their life, and that you should not be able to just talk down to them. You can have your beliefs. I'm not saying that you can't have your beliefs. But the idea that you can just talk down to them is just crazy to me. And again, if you're a believer in Jesus, most of the readings I've seen say that, for one, don't be a hypocrite, and you've got plenty to look at yourself in the mirror about and try to be a good person, but to love other people, you know? If you believe that God is the judge, let God be the judge. You don't need to go around judging. Let people live their truth. If they're good people, grade them or treat them based on how they treat you and others around you. If they're good parents, be thankful that a child is being raised in a loving home. All of this judgment is just not healthy, even if you are a person of faith. Yeah, if you're a person of faith and you believe that God is the judge, let God be the judge. Treat good people as they treat you. Be fair to them. Allow them to live their truth. And if God has a specific belief or will of what is right, then you know what? God will sort that all out. But
there was one thing that did resonate with me.
Yeah.
And that was, we're all hypocrites. We all live in sin.
Absolutely.
And nobody is perfect. Everyone's fallible.
Yeah.
And to say that God will not forgive you because you're a hypocrite, because you're sinning, that the Bible's teaching you that Jesus Christ died for your sins, and this is why he died. And that really resonated with me. And that was the only valid point that I saw from the conversation.
Yeah. Well, and I think that I have such a problem with people, the same people that question the news and talk about how you can't trust the news at all, right? They're all trying to mislead us, are very content to believe words that were written by human beings thousands of years ago. I would just be really careful with that. And I am not trying to demean any religious text. But for me, I just know what's right. And I genuinely believe that if there's a God, that if you live a good life, if you live a life of high integrity, you treat people around you well, you look out for other people, particularly marginalized people, the poor, whoever, but that you lead a genuinely high integrity life, that regardless of your sexual orientation, you are fine. That is my belief system. And that is something that I feel to the core of my being. And you can't point to a text to try to get me to think that those people are bad or that there's something wrong with them. If they are doing what they're supposed to in life and being good people and helping to raise, good citizens for the rest of us, that is all you can ask of anybody. And so for me, I was trying to articulate that that's my value system. And this person was just saying, well, no, but it specifically says this or that. And I just finally was like, yeah, I get it. You want to lean on this book that was written a long time ago and has had several iterations and several human beings have had their hands in it. If you're content to believe that and that allows you to feel okay being really judgmental about, certain kinds of people, that's cool, man. You do you. But I'm saying at the core of my being, I cannot help but know in my heart that that's wrong. And so I will always look out for those people and just want them to treat me with the same respect that I would treat them with.
Sure.
Period. The end.
That's good. Well, that also leads us into our next segment. Being kind and being grateful for your family, friends, and neighbors. I'll let you lead it off if you want to talk how you're grateful for all your people in your life, correct?
I'm
Obviously.
beyond grateful. I just like you say, I am blessed to just have phenomenal people in my life. And although it's taken me to this point in my life to understand the value of that, I live every day in such gratitude for the circle of friends, family, extended family, everybody in my life. I just feel super blessed.
I'm so blessed, especially all my neighbors. I love them to death. They're like my best friends now.
Yeah.
And we hang out quite frequently. It's just one big group. It's absolutely amazing. I'm not taking away from all my other friends.
Not
I'm
at
just
all,
saying
man.
that I've incorporated my neighbors into my life.
There's a lot to be said for that little geographic world that you're in, because it's like a safety thing to know, like, oh, wait, because especially with the world feeling a little crazy, the idea that, like, oh, like, we're like a group of people here. It's not just me, and I have my friends that are 15 minutes away, a half an hour away, like, this group of
Sure.
people here, like, I know these people. You're invested in one another. It feels really good.
Exactly. When they first met me, they were probably like, oh, this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was having raging parties at my house, and they're probably like,
we've all been
we're
there.
gonna have to deal with this guy
mm-hmm.
for the next however many years we live here. I think it worked out in everyone's favor, though.
Of course.
But I'm truly blessed to have everyone that I know and everyone that's in my life. I don't have any resentment for anybody now. Like, if you did me wrong, you did me wrong. Whatever. Like, let it go.
And that's a big part of growing up, man, is just letting that holding on to that stuff is toxic. I think if anything, you learn that there are certain boundaries in life that when violated, you're kind of better off cutting out the dead weight. Not that you wish ill for that person, but like, hey, I can't let you into my inner sanctum anymore because, it's too dangerous and I value my serenity. For lack of a better word,
yeah. If you don't increase the value of my life, you don't have a part in it, basically.
Yeah.
And
that's how it should be, right? People should add to our lives. And of course, people are going to go through a hard time. So sometimes it is taxing to be a good friend or family member or whatever. Like, it's not all rainbows, but that's the thing, is if you care about somebody a lot and they've invested in you and added enough positivity to your life, then you want to do that. But it shouldn't just be something that's expected. Like, that's part of building a relationship. And so,
yep.
You want to be there for people that have been really beneficial to your life.
Those energy suckers are what I'm talking about. You know, the ones that every time they just drain you.
It's the worst.
It's so bad. But
And the sad part is, like, they genuinely don't see it, and it feels so obvious. Like, you're looking around like, how can they not see this? Like, I swear to God, like, a rain cloud just followed them in here. This is insane.
Exactly. Always negative. Like, can't do it in my life anymore. I have to have that positivity. I have to be upbeat. But back to the subject, I feel truly blessed to have the people in my life, especially Corey over here, because this guy has pulled me out of some situations. Let's just put it that way. You're like,
likewise,
hey,
man. Likewise.
Yeah, we've been doing good. But remember, be kind to everybody, and acts of kindness can actually increase your life satisfaction by 15%. So, pay everything forward. If you have the means to help somebody, help somebody.
Yeah, and just be good to people. Like, again, if you're a godly person, and I don't take anything away from people and their belief systems, but I'm not aware of a belief system that says walk around judging people. Go around, don't be judgmental, treat people as they treat you, live a good life of high integrity, be there for the people that are there for you, but don't go around with this holier than thou crap. It's ridiculous, and it doesn't serve anybody.
Agreed. Any final thoughts on, being blessed and being thankful?
No, and with that being said, I don't harbor any ill will for anybody that, like in particular the person in this conversation that we're referring to. I love this person. I hope that, maybe they think a little bit about it and maybe just try and find a kinder way. Again, believe what you want to believe, but there is beauty to be had in this world. And almost everybody can add value to your life, and you'd be surprised who adds value to your life if you allow for it,
Exactly.
I don't know.
No,
I don't have any ill feelings toward anybody. I want people to see the beauty in not only the world that we're living in, but the people. And I love all the different shades of people. I love all the different ethnicities, religions, cultures. Like the world would be so bland without it. It's beautiful to me.
No, I've definitely, and I'm guilty of it. I've definitely harbored resentment for people, but typically it has to do with if they did me wrong or
Sure.
if I felt that they did me a disservice.
Yeah.
And I've gotten to the point to where I'm just like, you know what? I let go of all my resentment. I wish nobody any ill will.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that I want to go strike up a conversation with them.
Right. Well,
but I don't have any resentment, and I wish everyone the best.
Absolutely. Like I never, and like at this point in my life, it's funny because there was a time when I definitely, would have thoughts where I would be mad at people or wish ill will, not like anything awful, but but now like it genuinely matters to me what I hold in my heart. Like I don't like holding negativity in my heart. I like going out of my way to think positive thoughts for people, or that they'll have epiphanies that maybe lead to more positive outlooks. Like I don't want negative for people, and I think that's a good part of growing old if you're doing it right, is that you realize like it matters what you hold in your heart or what space you hold in there. And so I genuinely try to do good stuff.
Just so everyone knows, negativity sells.
Yeah.
Because actually because sells better than positivity. If you had a news story that was completely positive, the whole thing, you wouldn't watch it. Because people want to see the negativity, what's going wrong, and it's easier. It's a more rewarding feeling, unfortunately.
But the people that are making money aren't going to make the choice to make less money. So the only thing we can do is modify ourselves and what we consume to try and help dig our way out of this thing. So we all have to be part of the solution and realize what you consume, what you hold in your heart, what you hold in your mind, all of it matters.
Exactly. Well, what's on the agenda for next week, buddy?
I don't know. Maybe these?
Oh, gosh.
One of the best.
Don't act like you're not impressed.
That was given to me by a good OB nurse friend, and we just get a kick out of it every time we see it. We had it like stashed away in one of the drawers in the office for the longest time, but now we.
I think you were wearing it. You were wearing it last week.
Well, last week I tried to catch you off guard. I was hanging it out of my shirt just to see if you'd kind of double take, but no, you picked up on it pretty quick because you're a sharp guy like that.
I think next week, Corey and I had planned on wearing our Halloween outfits and doing the podcast and talking about serious stuff while looking ridiculous in our Halloween costumes.
Yeah. You know what would be cool too is, Sean and I, obviously we said earlier, we were kicking around the idea of asking each other questions that would lead to us being critical of our own side. It'd be cool if anybody out there who is listening wants to ask any questions in that vein, No,
exactly. That would help. We're going to play some critical thinking bingo.
Yeah, because I just want to show that, I am my own person with my own thoughts, and I, again, want to live a life of integrity. I don't want to just walk some tribal line. I'll give you honest answers, but I have no problem being critical of the Democratic liberal side. and being honest about it. And that's a good thing. We should be able to do that. This tribal stuff is crazy.
Yeah, we can stop, and I'll try not to plead the fifth or say I don't recall. I mean, if we're going to go into this, we're going to go into
Sean's big thing is if I ask him one of these questions, he'll always look around and be like, all right, you can never tell anybody that I said this, but...
Now it's on record, though. I'm like, I don't want to get on the list, man.
You don't want to be on the list. But, you know, hopefully there is no list. Hopefully, you know, if we're trying to build back and build strong men, and not only strong men, but just a strong society that thinks for themselves, wants to take ownership over their own lives, we should want people that think independently. And, you know,
I think next week's is going to be a fun one. Episode 5 is going to be a fun one.
And we're definitely doing costumes.
Definitely doing costumes. It'll be a good one for sure.
Yes, sir.
Well, I want to thank everyone for watching. Please like, share, and follow. We definitely appreciate the support. Any topics that you want to see, by all means, put them in the comments. If you want to roast Corey, that's cool. I can't handle it. My ego's too delicate.
All right. And just a reminder to everybody out there, if you are religiously conservative, I mean no offense to anybody, but I just hope that you find kindness in your heart to treat everyone as they treat you. Don't go around judging people like you are God, and allow that to sort itself out at the appropriate time.
Yep. We'll find out in the end.
Or not.
Or not.
All right, man.
I'm going to say, all right, you have a great night.
Hey, you have a great night. What were you going to say? You were going to say, I'm going to say
nothing.
All right, man. Be good.
Later.